Hi everyone. Today we're diving into our predictions for the upcoming Henry VIII and his ministers exam. We will be breaking down what's most likely to come up and how you can do well for it. Before we move on, let me share something that would be really critical for you. Content summary and top grade models answers written by our teachers. You can find a whole range of these resources at kingsbridgeeducation.co.uk. You can also find the link below. Now let's break down how we actually make these predictions. Here's how it works. First, we look at frequency. We look at how often certain syllabus points have come up in the past. If something's been tested a lot, it might be less likely to appear again, or it could be a recurring favourite. Then we look at recency. We also check how recently a topic appeared. If it came up just last year, it's less likely to show up again immediately. Finally, we look at notable gaps. We scan for gaps in key parts of the syllabus that haven't been tested in a while. All three help us build a smart, evidence-based predictions. Now for the interesting part, what might be overdue? If certain topics have been asked a lot recently, the examiners might decide to focus elsewhere next time to cover more of the syllabus. First up, focus your attention on Cromwell's downfall. This feels like a big one waiting to happen. Why did Cromwell fall from grace in 1540? We haven't had a major question focused squarely on this in the last 4 years. Think about the key reasons: the disastrous marriage to Anne of Cleves, the influence of his enemies like the Duke of Norfolk. This could easily be an "explain why" or a "how far do you agree?" question about the main reason for his execution. Next we strongly advise you to focus on the Anne of Cleves marriage, linked closely to Cromwell's fall, the reasons why Henry married Anne of Cleves in the first place, and why it went so wrong so quickly, haven't been explored much recently. It connects foreign policy, the succession, and Cromwell's fate. Another key area you should focus on is the impact of the dissolution of the monasteries. We've had a question on why the monasteries were dissolved back in 2020, but what about the consequences? The syllabus specifically mentions the impact. Who benefited? Was it the gentry, nobility, the crown? Who lost out? Was it the monks, nuns, the poor, local communities? And what were the social and economic effects? This feels like a significant area that's ripe for examination, perhaps asking you to explain the consequences or evaluate who gained the most. Also, don't forget the role of religious houses before the dissolution. That could be a good describe 2 features. Question. Our next prediction is enforcing the break with Rome and early Reformation impact. How did Cromwell actually make sure people accepted Henry as head of the church? The syllabus mentions oaths and treason laws. This enforcement side hasn't been a major focus. Also, what was the immediate impact of the Reformation on the church itself? Think about the role of key figures like Archbishop Thomas Cranmer, whose specific contribution hasn't been tested recently. Opposition figures like Elizabeth Barton and John Fisher could also get more attention. We'd also recommend you to focus on Wolsey's early career and policies. We know about Wolsey's fall and some later policies, but what about his rise? Why did he become so powerful? His personality, his different roles, his wealth, and what about his domestic policies beyond the Eltham ordinances? The syllabus mentions enclosures, finance, and justice reforms. Crucially, the amicable grant in 1525 and the huge opposition it caused seems completely untouched in recent years. This is really a prime candidate. What else? The annulment crisis. Focusing on Catherine or the Pope is another topic that we are predicting. Wolsey's failure to get the annulment has been touched upon, but what about the other key players? Why was Catherine of Aragon so determined to resist? What were the pressures on Pope Clement VII that made him delay and refuse? Focusing on their specific roles and reasons offers a fresh angle on this crucial event. And last but not least, focus on Henry VIII himself in the early years. We've had feature questions on society and government in 1509. But what about Henry's own character? His views on being king? His personal style of ruling? His specific aims when he first took the throne beyond just war? These aspects haven't been deeply explored in the main questions recently. Let's finish with the golden rules. The non-negotiables if you're aiming for top marks in GCSE History. First, cover everything if you can. Predictions are helpful, but don't rely on them alone. Second, know your question types inside out. It's not just what you know, it's how you apply it. And third, study real answers. This is where most students go wrong. They revise the content, but they never see what a top grade answer actually looks like. That's exactly why the resources at Kingsbridge are so valuable. They break down top answers for you. Good luck.